On the night of September 30th, 2025, at 9:59 p.m. local time, a powerful magnitude 6.9 earthquake struck the waters near the northern coast of Cebu Island. The epicenter was located approximately 11 miles, 17 kilometers, northeast of Bogo City, a coastal area with about 90,000 inhabitants. This seismic event, occurring at a depth of just 6 miles, 10 kilometers, was classified as a shallow earthquake, which significantly intensified its destructive effects on the surface. The United States Geological Survey initially recorded the earthquake at magnitude 7.0 before revising it to 6.9 after more detailed analyses. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology confirmed that the movement was caused by a local geological fault, generating seismic waves that propagated throughout the central Philippines region. The proximity of the epicenter to densely populated areas created ideal conditions for extensive damage and loss of human life. The first hours after the earthquake were marked by a series of significant aftershocks, with the United States Geological Survey recording 4 additional earthquakes of magnitude 5.0 or greater in the same region. This sequence of seismic events kept the population in a state of constant alert, preventing many residents from returning to their homes throughout the night. The phenomenon of aftershocks is common after large magnitude earthquakes and can continue for days or weeks after the main event. The earthquake's death toll rose rapidly in the first hours after the event, with local authorities confirming at least 19 fatalities by the early hours of Wednesday morning. Bogo City, located near the epicenter, recorded the highest number of deaths, with 13 people losing their lives, including 9 adults and 4 children. Among the victims were 3 members of the Philippine Coast Guard and 1 firefighter who were participating in a basketball tournament at a sports complex that collapsed during the tremor. 3 of the fatalities in Bogo resulted from earthquake-triggered landslides that struck their homes on the slopes of the mountainous region around the city. Rescue officer Rexon Igot explained that these areas are particularly vulnerable during seismic events due to unstable soil and terrain slope. The city of San Remigio, located north of Bogo, confirmed 5 additional fatalities, including 4 bodies pulled from the rubble of a sports center where a basketball game was taking place at the moment of the earthquake. The city of Tabuelan also recorded 1 fatality, bringing the total number of confirmed losses to 19 people. However, local authorities warned that this number could increase significantly as rescue teams gained access to remote areas and completed searches in collapsed buildings. Philippine Red Cross President Richard Gordon confirmed that paramedics from the organization treated at least 60 injured people in 3 different provinces, indicating the geographic reach of the damage caused by the earthquake. Rescue operations faced enormous challenges during the first hours due to the darkness of night and constant secondary tremors that put the safety of emergency teams at risk. Provincial Rescue Officer Wilson Ramos told Agence France Presse that there was a possibility of people still trapped under the rubble of collapsed buildings, but he could not determine how many people were missing. The coordination of rescue efforts was complicated by communications disruption and lack of electrical power in several affected areas. Cebu Province Governor Pamela Baricuatro made a public appeal for residents to remain calm and move to open areas, away from walls or structures that could collapse. In a live video message on her official Facebook account, she assured that trauma medical teams, including doctors and nurses, were already on their way to the most affected areas. The governor also confirmed that the presidential office had guaranteed the immediate dispatch of aid to Cebu, promising medicines, food, and specialized medical teams. The infrastructure damage was extensive and varied, affecting everything from residential buildings to critical public facilities throughout the central Philippines region. A commercial building and a school on Bantayan Island collapsed completely, while several rural roads suffered deep cracks that made transportation extremely dangerous. The historic stone church in Bantayan, built during the colonial period, suffered significant damage, with its bell tower collapsing during the main tremor, symbolizing the vulnerability of the region's historical heritage. The regional electrical system was severely compromised, with the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines reporting that the earthquake caused the separation of Leyte, Samar, and parts of Bohol from the Cebu-Negros Panay power grid. The power outages affected not only public lighting but also communication systems, hospitals, and water pumping stations, creating a cascade of problems that complicated emergency response efforts. Technicians worked throughout the night to assess the extent of the damage and gradually restore power supply. The port facilities of Bogo and neighboring cities suffered structural damage that interrupted maritime operations, a vital means of transportation for these island communities. Piers and docks showed cracks and misalignments that made vessel docking dangerous, temporarily isolating some smaller areas that depend exclusively on maritime transport. The disruption of ferry routes also hindered the arrival of rescue equipment and medical supplies from other islands. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology issued alerts for residents of the provinces of Cebu, Leyte, and Biliran to stay away from the coast due to a minor sea level disturbance, advising them to remain alert for unusual waves. Although the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center confirmed there was no tsunami threat, authorities maintained the preventive alert due to the shallow nature of the earthquake and the possibility of additional submarine movements. Hundreds of frightened residents gathered in a grassy field near the Bogo fire station and refused to return to their homes several hours after the earthquake. This understandable reaction reflected both the psychological trauma of the event and practical concerns about the structural safety of their residences. Several businesses suffered damage, and many schools and offices suspended their activities until engineers could assess the integrity of their buildings, an essential precautionary measure in an earthquake-prone region. Eyewitness accounts painted a vivid picture of the intensity and terror experienced during the crucial moments of the earthquake. Firefighter Joey Ligid from the city of San Fernando described how he felt the tremor at his station. "We felt the vibration here at our station. It was very strong. We saw our lockers moving from left to right. We felt slightly dizzy for a while, but we're all fine now." Aye. His experience illustrates how even professionals trained for emergencies were caught off guard by the intensity of the seismic event. Martham Pashalan, a 25-year-old resident of the tourist town of Bantayan, was in the town square near a church when the earthquake struck. He reported how the ground literally moved beneath his feet and how the ancient religious structure began to sway dangerously before suffering structural damage. Call center employees in Cebu were photographed gathering outside their office buildings, some still holding their cell phones, an image that became iconic of the urban population's immediate response to the natural disaster. Firefighter Ray Cañete offered a particularly dramatic account of his experience. "We were in our quarters getting ready to retire for the day when the ground started shaking and we ran outside, but we stumbled on the ground because of the intense vibration. He and 3 other firefighters suffered cuts and bruises during their hasty escape, demonstrating how even those trained to respond to emergencies can become victims when the very earth becomes unstable." Social media filled with amateur videos showing the exact moment of the earthquake, with images of light fixtures swinging, shelves falling, and people running in panic to open areas. These recordings documented not only the physical intensity of the event, but also the instinctive human reactions to seek safety and protection. Many videos showed how quickly tall buildings in Cebu City began to sway, forcing the immediate evacuation of thousands of night workers and residents. As the night progressed and communications were gradually restored, stories of heroism and solidarity began to emerge. Local rescue teams worked tirelessly under dangerous conditions to locate survivors, while ordinary residents came together to help injured or trapped neighbors. The earthquake revealed both the vulnerability and resilience of Filipino communities, which have long experience dealing with natural disasters. Authorities emphasize that this collective experience, while traumatic, also demonstrates the importance of continuous preparedness and coordinated response to seismic emergencies in one of the world's most active earthquake regions.